You're listening to the Millennials Choice Show, Canada's most trusted podcast on all things real estate, finance, and entrepreneurship. Here's your host, Matthew Ablican.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Millennials Choice Show. As you just heard, I'm your host, Matthew Ablican. I'm here with my brother, Danny Ablican.
What's going on, everyone?
What's going on? We hope you guys are all doing well. And today we got a great episode for you, very information-packed. And I think it's very timely because I see this happening everywhere I go. I don't want to say everywhere, but I want to say 99% of the places that I go to now. And this is so important for you young entrepreneurs, young business owners. You're just starting out or you're thinking of starting your own business. Even those of you who have been in the business for like 5 years, this is very important information. We're going to be talking about customer service, and what we're seeing now is the decline in customer service, the decline in product or service that you're getting, but yet the increased cost. And, you know, people are going to blame pandemics and other things for that. But ultimately, you are the owner of your business, whether you're a realtor, a mortgage broker, a restaurant owner, a videographer, whoever it is. If you're the owner of the business, these things are in your control to a lot of extent, to most extent, right? It's yours. You can't control what's going to happen if you're going to stay shut down, if you're going to be open, things like that because of a pandemic, but most of it is in your control. And we want to talk about that. But first, smash that like button, subscribe, leave us a comment. We want to hear from you. We're cultivating a community here. And yeah, let's just get right into it.
Let's get into it, man. This is going to be an interesting one because I think everyone can relate, especially when it comes to the customer service aspect of, entrepreneurship. I find there is no or very little customer service right now, whether it's going to a restaurant, whether it's me taking my dog to the groomers or something like that, or getting a car detailed. I just feel like right now, a lot of people just don't care, right? Is that what you're finding too?
Oh yeah. Like restaurants would be at the top of my list. I had a recent incident with Walmart. Where else? I mean, like just other business owners that I'm looking and I'm saying, I'm paying for your product or service and you're not paying attention to detail. And it feels like I'm paying a lot more than what I'm getting or what I used to get. And yeah, there's shrinkflation, right? Where, the cost is going up, but what you're getting has decreased in its amount. So as an example, a box of cereal might look like the same box. The number of grams have shrunk, but yet the price has stayed the same, or it could have even increased. You're paying more than what you're actually getting. It may look like you're getting the same amount, but you're not.
You're getting less.
You're getting less. And restaurants are at the top of that list because now I feel like the cost of food is so expensive that you could go into Five Guys, for example, and pay $20 for a cheeseburger and with fries, I don't know, but $20 seems like a lot.
That is a lot.
You could buy a nice pack of ground beef. You could buy buns. You could obviously make it at home yourself, and that was always the case. But it just feels like now it's gotten worse. And at least before you're paying more, but the service was great and you feel good to go there. There's places you're willing to pay more, but because you know the place, you know the owner, you trust the consistency, you're like, it's okay, I'll pay a little bit more, but I'm getting what I want. I know what to expect. Now there's this sense of, I'm going to say entitlement. I'm going to go on record to say entitlement. There's a few things I want to talk about, but entitlement, because you go to these fast food restaurants where you're paying them for a product or service that they're offering, and then they're asking you if you want to tip. And I'm like, why would I tip you? You're not serving my table, you're not cleaning my table, you're not doing those things, you're not checking up on me, you're not refilling my drink, you're not, throwing away my garbage, you're not doing those things that if I went into a sit-down restaurant, there should be better service, more tailored approach. You're coming to me, you're greeting me, you're having a conversation with me, and that's what I'm seeing at restaurants. So there's a sense of entitlement. First of all, you want me to pay more for a product, then you want me to tip you. And then I do notice at some places when you don't tip, they do make it known that they saw that you didn't tip. And so it seems like it's a little bit of a drier, colder service. And I'm like, well, again, that's a whole nother conversation. But now why are you upset about it? And you're charging me more for your product. And now I don't feel like coming back because I feel like I'm wasting my money.
And if for anyone watching this or listening to this, we are not anti-tip. We actually used to be servers. So for those of you that don't know, we used to be servers at a restaurant. and we depended on that tip, right? But we also provided excellent customer service, in my opinion. So we're not against tipping, but I do also agree and think tipping culture has, become ridiculous, where you go to Starbucks, you're paying, let's say, $6 for a coffee, $7 for a coffee, and they're still asking you to tip. Why would you tip? I'm not understanding what service you're providing that would require a tip, right?
I bought my first condo because of my tips and part of my student loan. That was big, and I want my kids when they grow up to work at a restaurant before they work with us, if they want to work with us, because I want our kids to experience, communicating with people, building effective skills, finding out what's wrong. Some customers don't complain when something is wrong, so you want to find out what's wrong.
Yep.
Problem solving and all these things you pick up at a restaurant. I am not anti-tip. What I am anti is entitlement and expecting me to tip, and then you don't serve me properly because I don't tip. Did you just forget that I just paid how much money for a meal? Like I'm helping you, your bills stay on. I'm helping you pay your bills and your lights staying on. I'm helping you keep your doors open. I'm helping you employ your staff. And I think it's just so weird that has now transpired in our culture. The customer is not to blame for lack of wage growth. The customer is not to be blamed, I should say, for the cost of housing being what it is or whatnot. There should be no blame. So as a result, it's not my fault that maybe your wages are the way they are and you want tip now to make more money, because that doesn't make sense. You're almost demanding it, and you're not turning in like a new service. Let me give you an example. You're not giving me a new service. You're not becoming more valuable. I was at Subway recently, and I'm telling you, the kid, he told me how to make my sub for something new, and I trusted him. So he taught me how to do it. He took the time. There was a lineup. He took the time to do it. I tipped him. It made sense. I was like, thanks for that. That's great. Like, that makes sense. And I loved my sub afterwards. I ate it and I enjoyed it. And I was like, that was fulfilling. Like, I gave a little 10% tip on a sub. Big deal, right? But he did something worthy of it versus just taking my order and expecting me to tip.
Well, I've never heard of that. That's like really extraordinary service. I've never seen or got that service at Subway. So
but really, what did he do? Oh, Matt, this, or, he didn't know my name, but, this, what you're trying to do would taste a lot better if you did it this way, because that's what I have. I'm like, that's what I want to hear.
But I respect that. Because that guy
yeah.
actually has like a passion for his job. He wants people to enjoy their subs as opposed to other people that just don't care, right? And they're going to just not even, give you recommendations. They'll just do it wrong and not put the right amount of something or whatnot, but don't want to go into specifics. But yeah, it's ridiculous, man.
It's ridiculous. And you want to now cultivate this younger generation, because I don't want to knock on the younger generation, and I'm not going to be that old guy that does that. Like some of these, what are they called? The baby boomers that really talk down to millennials. It's like, don't you guys get it? It's your fault the way things are. It's you guys are in the positions of leadership that a lot of things are the way they are. And I'm still not one to play victim. I still, broke out of that and invested and grew and this and that in that environment and played that game. But don't you get it that you guys are partly to blame? So I don't want to knock on the younger generation if I'm partly to blame. If my generation is now saying, yeah, that's okay. There should be, there's restaurants that are created that it's mandatory to tip. The tip is already built into your bill. I don't agree with that. So I don't want to blame the younger generation for feeling that sense of entitlement. What I'm trying to do here is educate that younger generation, you Gen Z, you Gen Y, even millennials. Honestly, you guys need to understand that the way to raise your income is one way. It's not by protest. It's not by striking at work. It's not by, whatever way you want to think of. It's one way, which is becoming more valuable to society at your job. So not as a person. We're all valuable. We're all equally valuable. But when it comes to work and you want to make more and you want to be more valuable, well, then you got to learn a better skill. You need to go to school. You need to learn from somebody who's done what you're trying to do. As an example, at the restaurant, you start off by washing dishes usually. Then maybe you cook. Then maybe you wait tables. And now your earning potential has increased. Maybe you become a manager. Maybe you become the general manager. Maybe you become an owner one day. Maybe you start opening up a bunch of franchises. And in turn, you should be making more money because you're serving more people. literally and metaphorically in that industry. That's how you do it. That's how you raise your income. So I have a problem with, you're taking my order, I'm already paying more. And even if I wasn't paying more, even if this was pre-pandemic, everything was the same, but you're asking me to tip you, it's no. The answer is no every single time. And if you start giving me a look or an attitude, I just won't come back to your restaurant. So be wary, you guys, you young entrepreneurs who have maybe that mindset. Your business won't be here in the next few years. I can promise you that, because if things continue to get more and more expensive, which I think they will, and you're asking me to tip and then the service sucks because I don't tip you when you're not serving me, then I'm just not going to come back. I'm going to have to make that sacrifice and say, look, for the betterment of my health, the family, whatever, I'm not coming back to this restaurant.
Well, that I agree with everything you just said, but also this is for the entrepreneurs that actually own those businesses right now. Even if you're not a millennial, but you're employing millennials or this younger demographic that is pro tipping, when there's no extra value added or service added. And it could really hurt the business, because if you have a young person expecting a tip, let's say at Starbucks or whatever, at Subway, and they didn't do anything above and beyond, and they start giving attitude to the customers or someone that's looking to purchase something from you, then that doesn't really look good on the business, right, that you own. And people will leave you bad Google reviews, right? And I'm one of those people where I've had a terrible experience, and I'm not shy to go leave a Google review, because I actually want to let people know, like, this is my genuine experience here, and I want to give you a heads up just before, in case you consider coming here. We went to Smoke's Poutineery in Barrie, and it was one of those situations where terrible customer service. The person was like pretty much like, I don't know, like yelling. I don't know what the issue was, but it was just one worker working the whole place, taking orders and actually making the food. And it was on like a Sunday. And people usually sometimes like go out and buy out on Sundays, right? They don't want to cook or whatever. And service was terrible. We waited very, very long for our poutines. Like, I'm talking like 20 minutes for a poutine. And when we got the poutines, we spent about almost $35, $36 on two poutines. And nothing fancy, like just normal poutines. And they were disgusting. And we were just like, Maddie didn't even eat hers at all. She's like, this is so bad, I'm not even gonna eat it. And I'm like, whoa, like that's really bad. Like, you spent $40 almost, and you're like, on fries, on fries and some cheese curds, and you're like, and some gravy, and it was disgusting. And I'm just like, wow, I can't believe
you're not gonna go back there. Or
I'm never gonna go back there. I left a Google review, and it was just a terrible experience.
Now, here's the thing, like, it's probably not that guy's fault, like, or that person's fault, because maybe someone didn't show up to their shift. That's true. Or whatever. And I get that. I completely get that stuff happens. No one's being hard on you at all as a person. But if a business is not operating properly, don't expect it to be in business, in the next 12 months or 18 months. And I thought that's why we're here. I thought we're here to grow and do better. You need to do better. And even in times of friction, you need to do better with the customer and explain yourself properly and communicate and all these things. So the other thing I want to talk about is Rolex. Let's talk about Rolex real quick. And then I have a Walmart story I got to tell you recently, because it really drove us insane, and it still didn't work out. It's still going on to this day, but it's fine. Rolex. So Rolex is a non-for-profit organization. So the stores get a certain amount of watches every single year. And because of the supply chain issues, they had to catch up on a lot of their supply. But here's the thing, everybody wants a Rolex. So the lists just kept increasing. The list that people in the Rolex stores have, that, they record people's names and say, what kind of watch are you interested? If it comes in, we'll call you. It's hard. It's impossible to get some models almost. It's very hard to get certain watches. It's very hard to get a general Rolex. So when you go into these stores, right? I own a few of them. And when you go into these stores, they don't care who you are. They don't care. Some of the stores don't even let you in. They go, we don't have anything for you to see. Book an appointment and come back. They don't care. Now, Rolex might be in a unique position where they have so much brand value and recognition over I don't know how many years they've been in business. And, Rolex is Rolex, right? That maybe they can get away with it. Maybe they can get away with, they don't care who you are. First come, first serve. We get a watch, we get a watch. We don't get a watch, you don't get a watch. Like, they don't really care as much, because their list goes on and on. Even then, I still think they're doing people a disservice, and they're doing their attitude about it and their approach is wrong, because it is a luxe brand. It is a luxury brand that I think you still need to have this sort of atmosphere of like experience that you're giving to the potential buyer, even though you don't have a watch for them. Because then when a watch comes in, like I've bought a few of them. It's so funny. You go in and maybe in 5 to 10 minutes you're out and you just spent 20 grand on a watch. And it's like, well, okay, I get it. You don't have to spend more time with me. I get it. You don't have to hold my hand and cultivate me and make me feel good about myself. But maybe you should. Because in 5 years, in 10 years, maybe the people that are on your list, they change their mind. They don't want to buy a Rolex, or maybe things change and they don't want to buy a Rolex, but your usuals still want to buy something. Like there's a way to build a proper business. And I still don't think that that's the right way, the way they're doing it, because business is going so well for them that they don't have to. I don't agree with that. I agree that if business is going well, do even better. Do even better. Increase your list even more. Increase your database even more. Maybe those people will never get a watch, but so what? You're building your book of business, right?
Yeah, I think when you're talking about, you know, these huge luxury brands, and you know they don't necessarily have to, you know, give that good customer service. I agree with you. I think they don't have to, but at the same time, I also think they should, just because you're still gonna have that ripple effect of people talking about their experiences, right? So I'm not saying a few people can diminish a brand, but as we've seen recently, you know, if an influencer that has a following of 50 million people or more, you know, has one of those bad experiences with one of those luxury brands, it's a different like time that we're living in right now, where it's very easy for people to, you know, go against a certain brand and cancel it, right? We're living in that cancel culture. So I would say for these huge luxury brands, why not just avoid all that? Why not avoid, you know, being hated by so many people, or the potential to be hated by so many people, just by, you know, not providing the right customer service for, you know, certain individuals? Because you never know who's going to walk in, right? They might think, oh, this person's just another Joe Schmo, but little do they know that person is a TikToker that's very influential, and they will make videos about their experience. And people will see that. And as a result, I think can cause a huge ripple effect that'll hurt the business, right? So I agree with you, man.
I feel like there's a lot of ego like in all of this, because these companies say, well, I'm Rolex. You want a Rolex? You come get a Rolex, right? Like it's, you know what you're getting yourself into. But lose the ego, because empires can, you know, they rise and fall every day. Every day, billion-dollar companies, right? They can collapse, right? Banks are collapsing, like, right? If you're a watch company, you can collapse, right? And there's always other new entrepreneurs entering the space, and there's other brands that you're competing with. How amazing would it be where you walk into a store, a Rolex store, if you guys have ever been to like one, whoever's listening to this, you know, and they treated you like you're a king, and then they walk you, all they need to do is spend 20 minutes with you. 20 minutes with you. That's all it would take.
It's not too long. Yeah.
I walked into one recently. They said it's first come, first serve. You better get here ASAP. So they put me under pressure to go get it. And if somebody comes in before now and then, sorry, too bad. And I'm like, well, I can't teleport to you. I'm on my way. Put it aside. I'm buying it, right? They showed me the watch over text. No, we're not going to do that. Well, it's 2 p.m. I go, I'm at work. I'm going to leave. Like I'm coming. 15 minutes. 15 minutes. Hold it. And no, we don't do that. It's not fair. It's first come, first serve. I go, you're wrong. It's what you're doing is not fair, because if somebody lives next door to you or close to you and they could walk to your store or get there in 2 minutes where it takes me 15 to 20 minutes, how's that fair? I go, your policy doesn't make sense. If like but we have so much demand. If you don't buy it, someone else will. I get that. But where's the customer service? Where's the loyalty? Where's the recognition? Where's the repeat buyer service? I know my clients, when they're repeat buyers of mine, they get better, they get even better service. They get more of my time and attention because I've done a lot of deals with this person. I know them now. There's more rapport, right? I can trust them. I can work with them. We understand each other. Same thing but none of this happened. And then guess what happens? I fly to the store. I jet to the store. I get there. Someone's in front of me. It's like a Tuesday afternoon. Someone's in front of me who went in just to fix something on their band for a brand that wasn't even Rolex. It was another brand that store sold. And the guy's about to walk me in and you know, put me in touch with my sales guy who sold me a watch previously. Doesn't host or the lady at the front reception tell the guy, say, oh, he wants to see it now. And he was obviously here first. That's their policy, who entered the door first. So I told the guy, go, hang on for a second. He was here first for another matter. He wasn't here to see the watch. I'm here to see the watch. I'm here first to see the watch.
And what happened?
The sales guy comes out, who's my previous sales guy. The guy explains it to him. Doesn't even shake my hand. Hi, Matthew. Nice to see you again. Nothing. Goes to in front of me and in front of the other guy and to his team. Goes, I don't get what's taking you guys so long. Let the guy in. So he lets the other guy in. And he saw the watch and he didn't want it. So I went in and I bought it. But I told him I wasn't happy. And he literally told me, he's like, no. You're buying a Rolex. You cannot be unhappy. You have to be happy. I go, I'm happy I'm getting the watch. I go, but I'm not happy with what just took place. I go, it's very simple to understand. He wasn't here for the watch. I came here. I don't like your policy that made me rush here, stop what I'm doing during my day to come get it. I don't like that. And you're sending me pictures of the watch. If you're going to send me a picture of the watch, put it aside if I say I want it. But I don't like that whole policy. But I still came here. I still arrived. And then you said, no, he was in the store first, so he gets to see the watch first. Anyone else would have turned around and said, I don't want your watch. And they wouldn't have cared. They wouldn't have cared.
It leaves a sour taste in your mouth, right?
It leaves a sour taste in your mouth.
Just the experience is just shitty overall. And something similar, not similar, but something happened to us like that recently. We were getting Aria, our dog, groomed. And it's for those of you that have dogs, you know how expensive it is to get your dog groomed. It's $120, $100 to $120.
How often do you do that, by the way?
You do it like every 2 to 3 months, as much as you need. So it's pretty expensive. Like you want to make sure like they're doing a good job of it. And they're obviously taking care of your dog and all this stuff. So anyways, we leave our dog there. We come back. And this girl always has like some sort of smart alecky comment to make about our dog. And our dog's a puppy. So she's not going to be a perfect dog, And this time she's like, oh, I don't know what it was with her. I'm trying to think of the word, but she was annoying. And I looked at Maddie and I'm like, what? Like, did this girl just say that? Like, what do you mean annoying? Like, she's a puppy. Of course, she's not going to sit and be perfectly still for you to cut her or groom her, right? And I said, you know what? I could go off right now. I'm like, but, we're planning on, bringing our dog here for the foreseeable future. And I don't want one of the staff to actually, hate us. And you never know what they'll do with the dog when we're not there. So I'm like, I'll just hold your tongue, bite your tongue and whatever. In spite of all that, we go back and she didn't even do a good job because she didn't even actually clip her nails, which we paid for. And I was like so pissed with the overall experience. And I'm like, she has the nerve to talk like that, disrespectful to customers and not, provide that good customer service. And at the same time, not even provide a good service in terms of the service that we're requesting, right? The grooming. And that really pisses me off because now we're never going to use that same person again. And we're good tippers. We always tip good on something like that. And now we got a sour taste in our mouth. So this sucks not only for us, but it sucks for the owner of that grooming place because now they have an employee that is telling their clients, your dog was annoying or this, and wasn't doing a good job.
And then they didn't do their job.
And they still didn't do their job. So it's like, who's the really annoying one right now? Where now, we paid this much money and at the same time, you didn't do the service we asked you to do. So
please tell me you're not going back there.
No, I'm definitely not going to use that same person because you can request like a certain person that does it. And we're definitely not going to use that person ever again because she's just somebody, again, one of those younger people where it's like they might not know how to communicate effectively and, maybe get across a certain point. But you never tell your customers you're annoying or something like that because you're losing those people. It's
rude.
It's so rude and disrespectful. Yeah. And like, I would never say that to anybody, especially if they're annoying me or whatever. Sometimes there's servers that come, 5 to 10 times to our table trying to ask if everything's okay when we're trying to just enjoy ourselves. I find that kind of annoying, but at the same time, like they're just trying to make sure everything is going well. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to go tell that person off and be like, you're being annoying. You know what I mean? No, not at all.
It's not professional.
That's not professional at all. And, I just don't carry myself that way. But it's so funny that it's so common everywhere. I'm dying to hear your Walmart story. Right
yeah. It's one of those things where it is happening everywhere. And if you're just hungry enough to just do little basic things that are so easy to do, you're going to stand out. You're going to crush your competition because again, it's so common what we're talking about that if you just become a little bit rare or uncommon in the way you approach things, People are going to really appreciate it. They're going to really appreciate it. They're going to come back to you. They're going to do more and more business with you. And the other thing is like this sense of entitlement, and you don't know it all. You don't know it all. You think you know it all. Like the Tesla driver that was yesterday just really up my ass, for pardon my French, and not realizing that there's a kid in the back, and there's this particular bump in Vaughan that a lot of people know about, and this bump, you got to go over it carefully. And I'm in an SUV, and it's still bad. And then they're driving by me, and this younger crowd, I think they were millennials, and they're just staring at me like I don't know how to drive. You can't see that there's a kid in the back. You don't know everything. You don't know why someone's doing what they're doing. You don't need to stare like you're so perfect and you're judgmental and this and that and critical of every single thing. You don't know everything. So do things the right way. You don't know why, like as a customer, I don't know why maybe someone is operating in a bad way, or they're angry, or the service isn't great. I'm not going to go, tell them off or do something bad, but I just might never go there again.
Exactly.
So you need to be careful as a business owner that you don't know why someone may or may not enter your doors. You don't know why it's the customer service, it's your product, it's your service, it's both, right? And then you don't know why they leave. It could be an incident like that. If I were you, I wouldn't even go back to that same grooming company. If I were you, yeah. But that's just me. But because there's other people that want to earn your business.
Exactly.
That's what you guys need to remember. You don't know everything. And there are other people that are trying to take the food off of your plate because they're running a business. And that's the game that we're in. And so maybe they're not doing it maliciously, but they're doing it in a way where they're providing better service. They're providing a better product. They're providing better both. And as a result, they're beating you. They're accumulating more clients. They're acquiring more clients. There has to be that in the sense of business. That's how I am. I am principled. I expect somebody to leave me if I'm not representing them properly and not working with them properly, or if my commissions are, out of ordinary high and there's no reason for it. There's no extra service or extra guarantees or whatever. I don't expect people to work for me, or work with me, I should say. I don't expect that. But you guys need to understand that there are other people that are out there crushing it. They want to acquire clients. They're doing it the right way. And your business may not be here in the next few years. Plain and simple. The Walmart story. So we want to get James's passport, and he needs passport photos still. So you could take regular photos and you try to keep them still. And then the government is a little bit more flexible with the way the picture turns out because they understand that it's an infant. So they don't want shadows and things like that in the passport photo. You know how strict they are. Yeah. But they also don't want the baby, with their eyes closed. They want the eyes open and stuff like that. So I go into Walmart. They actually let you take the photo yourself. You don't have to take professional photos for the babies, the infants. You could take them yourself. So we did. And they were good photos. And then we go into Walmart, and the kid is just literally, he looked 17 or something. He's just staring at me while he's talking to another customer. He's like talking to them and like staring at me. So as I'm walking into the photo, I'm like, how are you? He's like, good, you? I'm like, good. And I just kept walking. He's talking to another customer. I'm like, that was a weird stare. And I know it was late, like he was about to close, but he like made it known, like, why are you here? Like, what are you doing, sort of thing. And then on their machines where you could print your own photo, it has the option for passports. But when you click it, it then opens up all these different like sizes, and not one of them indicate which one is for passport. And then you Google it and they say, well, your passport picture should be this, but they don't have that size. And then I'm like, okay, so which size do I choose from? Anyway, I ask him, of course, he's there. He goes, oh, I don't know. He's like, I don't know which one it is. I'm like, you work, like, don't you do this? Don't you take passport? So you know what he said? He's like, you could bring your kid in and I'll take a regular photo for him and print them manually. I'm like, no, we already took it. I explained it to him. I go, we already took it. It's hard to take an infant photo. I'm like, so I'm just here to print it. I'm like, can I send it to you and you print it? He said, no. He's like, I can't do that. You can't send me an email here. Can't do that. And it has to be from this machine. So then he prints a couple of types of photos. And I'm like, these don't look right. They were only 38 cents, but these didn't look right. And they didn't work afterwards at the post office, at the passport office.
Wow.
They didn't work. So this guy provided me zero service, zero. But then I saw how he was. So I paid for them. There was a lady waiting behind me where she was waiting with her kid. And I even told him, I said, why don't you check her out first? Because you got to go print my photos, then check me out. No, it's fine. He said he didn't want to help her. And then some random lady came in who bought some random products from Walmart, wanted to check out in that area because to avoid the line. And as I left, he's helping her. And she just walked in. I had to turn around and say, hey, she was here first. There was only two people, me and her. How didn't you catch that? And then you saw a third person come in and he got nervous and was like, okay, how can I help him? I'm like, wait. I'm like, hey, she was here first. She literally said, was like, thank you. Like, what?
The fact that you have to explain that,
why do you have to explain that
doesn't even make sense
to this generation?
Anyway. And like, it doesn't make sense.
It's
like,
common sense.
Yeah, but it's not common anymore though.
It's not common anymore.
They're really like, again, not to talk down to anybody, but it's just use your brain. Like I think a lot of the younger generation had too much like things done for them. That's what the problem is. There's no problem solving. There's no critical thinking. And if you guys don't know what that is, like you need to like search that up, because those are basic life skills. And if you don't have basic life skills, you're always going to run into these problems and you're not going to learn from it. You're not going to grow. You're always going to feel like there's tension in front of you. You're always going to feel like people are out to get you, but that's not what's happening. You have to look at yourself. Like Matthew was just saying, you are not perfect. As much as mom and dad said, oh, you're so perfect, that's wrong. They are setting you up.
And we're not perfect.
And we're not perfect at all, but they are setting you up for failure. So the fact that you're in the workforce and someone's asking you a question regarding the service that you're there to help people with, and you don't know the answer, and you just kind of stand there saying like, I don't know, that's not good enough. And people will not leave you alone. People say, no, you need to figure it out or call your manager. So that really irks me. That really gets to me, because then that guy might go home broken, like, oh my God, like today was such a hard day at work. Everyone was on my ass. No one's on your ass. You just aren't, rising up to this basic standard of customer service that your job requires you to do. And a lot of that also has to do with the training involved as well. In a lot of these places, there is no real good training, right, when it comes to customer service. So unfortunately, a lot of the business owners are going to suffer for obviously places like Walmart, things like that. They don't care because they're huge companies. But I definitely think for these small mom and pop shops, it'll have a huge impact on the bottom line, which is very unfortunate, because those guys may have sunk their life investments, their life money, their savings into that business. And as a result, they're not getting what they're expecting in terms of returns.
First of all, I am that guy that if we're at Canadian Tire and I say, where's this? I don't know. Can you please find out? You're not getting away with me like that. I don't tolerate that stuff. Number one. Number two, if I want to purchase stuff online, I'll purchase stuff online. And you're going to lose that customer. You're going to lose me as a customer. And I'm the easiest person to sell something to. If I go into a store, I know what I'm going in there for. So it's not that hard, right? It's not that hard to do that, but you need to treat me properly. If you don't treat me properly, I'm not going to work with you. It's plain and simple. Yeah. I've done stuff before. I'm trying to think of where. Usually it's probably at a food place where I'm like, you know what, keep it.
Yeah, it happened to me at Home Depot literally a couple of days ago. And there's a million of these stories, but we went there for something. We knew what we were getting. Long story short, I saw something, and Home Depot has a service where they can, if you're looking for a handyman or a contractor, they can, put in something on their website, and like you request a service and the person comes, blah, blah, blah. Long story short, I was just asking the girl like, oh, can somebody, do something like this? And we were standing there for like 5 minutes, and she was just like, had this blank stare. And she wasn't like speaking or saying like, sorry, like, let me just figure that out for you. She was just standing there, and like, she's like, yeah, let me find it. And she was going on for such a long time. And Maddie was like, I already found it. I already pulled it up on my phone. Let's just leave. I'm like, okay, don't worry about it. And we just walked away, because this person just had us standing there, holding our, hands in our pockets, just waiting to get some sort of like response. And we're just standing there, and my wife was able to pull it up literally in 3 seconds on her phone. Yeah. And I'm like, sorry. I'm like, don't worry about it. We're okay. And then we just literally walked away, because I'm like, you don't even need people anymore to an extent. Like, doesn't that worry you as an employee? Like, sometimes like your level of customer service, if it's not there, we don't even necessarily need your service, because everything's online now.
See, here's the thing that I love about this generation. It's millennials and Gen Z. A lot of them are so cocky that they think, oh, AI is going to replace this or AI is going to replace that. AI can give you plans to build a building. AI can give you, you know, the best script or whatever, but AI cannot build this building. You know, unless you have a bunch of robots that are going to then, you know, be experts at building a building.
3D printing of buildings.
Right, and do that, and it becomes scalable. Fine, that's one thing. But in our lifetime, that probably, I don't know if that'll happen. But long story short, they're not going to replace everything. That's not how it works. And so, you know who they are going to replace? The kids that are spending more time on TikTok trying to figure out the dumbest dance that I've ever seen in my life. It's going to replace you guys. That in Walmart, you don't even know what size is a passport photo when your job is to provide passport photos and other photo types. That's silly to me. You are going to get replaced. That there's a reason why there's a lot of cashiers that are being replaced. Sometimes I go up to a cashier, I don't even want to like talk to the cashier. Like they're so miserable.
Dude, we always do self-checkout now.
It's like
self-checkout's the best thing ever.
Yeah, but here's the thing though. I don't want to do self-checkout because I don't want to remove somebody's job. I also think like that. You know, like I care about that to an extent, right? But I also care about my own well-being and you know, I want things to benefit myself if I'm going into a grocery store. I had an incident at a grocery store where I don't know what this employee was doing. Like I have no idea. She's standing in front of where you would normally put the groceries on the revolving place on the counter. She's standing there, like in front of that, not behind where she's supposed to be, right? And there's people in lines, the other lines. So she's standing there. So I asked a basic question. I go, "Are you open?" Her response to me, this little girl in high school, her response to me was, "You don't see me standing. Why would I be standing in front of here?" No, Carson, I swear. I'm like, like, bro, like, who do you think you are? And it doesn't matter who you are, but who do you think you are? So here's the approach I took. Because I don't let people, I'm not gonna let little kids trigger me or anybody trigger me. I know myself. I know what triggers me and what really doesn't trigger me, and none of this other stuff triggers me, especially after you have a kid. Petty stuff, just you're like, bro, just hurry up. I don't want to do any of this stuff. I don't care to interact with you, and I don't need to help you right now. But in this particular incident, obviously whatever this person was going through was affecting her, and it had nothing to do with me. She's just projecting it on me. That's the other thing you guys have to keep in mind. People take stuff so personally these days. Yeah. You don't know the person. They don't know you. Why would you take it personal? They're obviously projecting something that they're going through in their life. You guys need to be aware of this. It'll help you. Otherwise, every place you go, you're going to be miserable because a lot of places are everywhere. Like this. Yeah, exactly. This is what society has become for the most part. But anyway, so I let her finish. She's doing her thing. She's not talking, whatever. And the customer, the person that was like, must have been walking close to me, like saw that. So they lined up right behind me as well. And she's just doing her thing. No apology, nothing, doesn't care. And I just told her, I'm like, whatever you're going through in life right now, I'm like, you know, God has a better plan for you. And she just broke down crying. Wow. She just broke down crying. And I was like, see, like, it's not because I was being a nice person to her, but she needed to hear that. Something she was going through obviously led her to be feeling that way, which led her to speak to me that way. But I didn't take it personal. Like, she doesn't know me. I didn't do anything wrong to her. And it's hard to do that. It's hard to say something, a word of encouragement, or you want them to edify something good. And it's hard to do that nowadays because it's coming at you everywhere. You're driving, you see someone do something silly, you're driving, you're like this so-and-so. You know what I mean? Like this idiot.
100%.
Right? And it's like, why do that? Why go through that, right? So do the opposite, do good. And so it's hard to love. It's hard to show that love. But if you do that, the world becomes a better place. So I don't know how that helped her or whatever, but she started breaking down. I actually didn't know she started crying because then I waited for Sarah. I paid and then I waited for Sarah. I don't know if she was getting flowers or something, but the lady and her daughter who was behind me in line saw me at the exit waiting for Sarah and was like, that was so beautiful what you said. And I think she needed to hear that. She started crying. That's how I knew. So you're influencing people for the better. Why do you want to leave people with a taste of this kid didn't know nothing? Even if it's not a kid, it's an adult working in one of these stores, that this adult knew nothing. Why do you want to be like that kind of freaking human?
Yeah, you got to do better.
Like, why do you want to be that human walking around on earth saying, and we just named employees of a place, but nonetheless, if you're an employee of a place, you don't have to own your own business to be an entrepreneur. But David talks about being an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
You're someone who within a company, you could become more valuable to the company. You don't have to have your own business to carry these qualities and these characteristics. And you could dominate the game by just changing them subtly, like very little changes, minor changes that are easy to do. And as Jim Rohn says, it's easy not to do because they're so easy.
Yeah.
If you could do them, you're going to dominate your field. Don't listen to these guys that, oh, I just want to be behind a screen trading crypto all day or stocks all day and I don't need people. What do you mean? If you make money, aren't you going to go enjoy your life? Don't you want to know how to interact with people? Don't you want to have better experiences and better relationships and all that? Why do you want to be a mediocre human?
Just be the best person you can be, and regardless of the role you're doing. And I learned that honestly from Johnny Rockets back in the day when I was cleaning the dishes, the dirty, disgusting dishes, and those dirty, nasty water was going in my face. And I said, you know what? I'm going to be the best busboy here, honestly. And what people don't understand.
Danny.
Thank you. What people don't understand, though, on a serious note, like what you do in your work and how you behave, that affects every area of your life. If you're going to choose to do your job in a mediocre way or fashion, you're going to live a mediocre, life. You choose not to make your bed in the morning. You're not going to, strive to do everything else in your life, right? Making your bed is the easiest thing to do. So you really think if you roll out of bed, you don't make your bed, you're going to go and achieve all these amazing goals? That's not going to happen, right? That's like number one. And number two is, why set the bar so low for yourself? Set it high. Strive to be the best you can be. And like Matthew was just saying, why not be that light where you can give a word of encouragement to somebody or give somebody some praise? Where if you see them doing a good job, and I'm pretty sure you do this, I do this a lot. When I actually see the opposite and someone's doing such a great job, I build them up. I praise them up in a good way. And I say, wow, I really appreciate how you just did that. Thank you so much. And people really appreciate it. So that's what like my message is for the young people right now, or anybody that's watching this, even if you're older, like Matthew's saying, it applies to everybody. If you're looking to just be better and do better and you're conscious about it, you will have a much easier life. You will not feel as much tension as much people that feel right now, where, oh, every day is such a hard day. Every day is such a struggle. No, don't be that person that's like, I'm only looking forward to the weekend. Oh, I hate my week. Why? We're very wealthy here in the West. Like, we're very, very well off. We have food. We have shelter. For those people that don't have that stuff, obviously that's a different scenario. But I'm saying majority of us have those things, as opposed to the other 90% of the world that doesn't have those things. So,
everybody wants to come here.
Yeah.
Everybody wanted to come here, at least in, all these years.
Yeah.
US and Canada, right? To have a better life. No one wanted to like plan and to go to like, I don't know, Zimbabwe. Like, people wanted to come here for a better situation and a better chance. And you're born here. That's why you take it for granted. You're born here. We're born here, but we don't take it for granted because we saw what our parents had to go through when they came here. Yeah. That's a bit different about the immigrant mentality we have in us, even though we weren't immigrants, but we have that in us. But you're born here and you're squandering it. You're squandering. My little cousin, you guys are listening to this? You guys are squandering it. I'll tell you right now. It's your generation. You're squandering it. You're sitting at home. You're doing nothing in the freest country in the world, and you're squandering it. And I say that humbly. I say that out of love. I say that because we want to help you guys. That's why we do this for free. We bring this information for free to you guys. We don't make money off this. We want to educate. That's how we become more valuable to our audience, to our business owners. Even if you're not a business owner or an entrepreneur or ever want to be one, and you want to just work steady at a company, your poor attitude won't get you very far. They'll pass up on the promotion. They'll pass it on to someone else. They'll pass up on you because you're not, a great employee. There's different things you can do to better your situation. And it's not just, artificial philosophy that we're talking here. They're practical things.
This is real life.
How do you answer your phone if somebody calls you?
It's another great day at Millennials Choice. Danny speaking. How can I help you?
Yeah, we picked that up at the restaurant industry and I brought it with me and I said, guys, this is how you guys answer your phones.
Yeah.
You want to be part of the team? That's how you answer your phone. Not like the realtor goes, hello? I'm like, hi, it's Matthew calling you back from Millennials Choice. We just missed your call a couple minutes ago. From where? He's a realtor. This is a realtor all the time.
It always
realtor.
happens.
From where? Millennials Choice Realty. You just called us 2 minutes ago. Yeah, I don't know. I honestly don't know why I called. Okay, is it regarding a property? Like, you try to help them, like work with them.
Guide them,
like, come on, give me something,
like
right?
Something.
Like, work with me. Oh, is it regarding this property? We have this property. We have this, that, or is it this? I don't know. I don't even think I called you. That's what it turns into. Okay, well, if anything comes up, calls back, goodbye. That's a realtor. That's a realtor that doesn't know what's going on. You don't want to be that person. And would you want to work with that person?
That's scary. That's
would you want to work with that person? No. The answer is no. So why would somebody want to work with you? You think someone's just going to come and give you money? So this is where it leads. This is what I wanted to get to. And I want to hear your thoughts on this. That's why you're always going to be waiting on a handout, and you're always going to be dependent on something else, somebody else, because you're not effectively communicating yourself. You're not improving your skills. You feel stagnant because you are, and now you expect someone to come around and help you and give you,
a tip
or what you're looking for, or universal basic income, where it's going to be so popular and so welcomed by the younger generation, mark my words, that they're going to do it because they think that's the answer. And I want to leave you guys with this particular quote. If I gave you a fish, I would feed you for the day. But if I taught you how to fish, I would feed you for life. Learn how to fish rather than accepting a fish from somebody else.
Yeah.
That's what takes you to that next level, teaches you how to be independent. And it's not easy to go buy a property, for example. Nowadays, I get it. I started only 11 years ago. It was hard for me then. It's still hard for me now, but it's harder now than it was 11 years ago. And 11 years ago, it was harder than it was 10 years prior to that. So I get it. I'm not going to sit here and say you can do it too. The plan might be different for you, but nonetheless, you have to do your best. And don't let this spirit of entitlement overcome you. And then you don't know how to communicate yourself effectively. You don't know how to connect with others. You don't know how to network. Those are some of the biggest problems of society nowadays. You're walking on the street and you need to cross the street because, I don't know, you're scared of the germs that are in the air. And rather than saying hello to the person, you're hoping you're on your phone, like, don't look at me, don't make eye contact, don't do this. So Sarah hates this because anywhere we go, I'm like, how you doing? If I see someone on the street, partly because I want to, make their day better, say hello, but also because I want myself to always be in that routine of just communicating with people.
Yeah. Never lose that human interaction. That's for sure. And yeah, one thing I just want to say too, like, the government is not here to help you. With a handout, if anyone is hoping that the government is going to come to their rescue and be their knight in shining armor, you are sadly mistaken. You are not going to get the help that you're expecting. And when it comes to anybody that is depending on their mom or their dad, mommy and daddy are also not going to do it for you either. You're just going to be living with them in their basement for the rest of your life. And if you think that it's hard now, it's only going to get harder. For those of you listening to this, watching this, it's only going to get harder. So the more you delay, the more you just want to sit back and relax and, let everyone do everything for you, you are going to be like in for a rude awakening in the future, because a lot of people just, I don't know where this comes from. Maybe you can shine some light on this. A lot of people just think like, oh yeah, like one day I'm going to make it. And they're just like, I'm going to make it happen. And there's no plan. There's no effort. It's like, yeah, when I'm rich, I'm going to do this. When do you think that's going to happen? How do you think that's going to happen if you're just playing games all day and you're not doing anything productive and you're letting your mom and dad do everything for you and you're not working or whatever the case is and you're not in school, you're not trying to add value like Matthew's saying? Like, you think it's just going to happen all in one day with a snap of a finger? If the government starts handing out money like they did during COVID, you're honestly in for a rude awakening. And we want to encourage, and that's why we're on this podcast right now. That's why we're on this show. We're trying to encourage people. You got to like care enough for yourself. Your parents are not going to care enough for you. Your friends are not going to care enough for you. You need to care about you. And that's the only way it's going to happen. And a lot of people, unfortunately, need to hear this. And I hope they do. And I hope it really resonates with them in a good way. And it leads to some sort of action. Because, guys, it's hard right now. There's couples that are making $150,000 together combined and they can't buy a house.
250
$250,000. They can't buy a house. How do you expect to have this huge mansion that's costing right now $2 million? By the time you're 25, it's going to cost maybe $3 million. It's not going to happen. Like, it's going to be impossible for you. So don't let anybody tell you what the limit is on yourself, but you need to actually care enough about yourself to actually put in the work, put in the time,
Well, I
and
think
make it
a
happen.
lot of these gurus, like, to shed some light on that, a lot of these gurus online, let's just use real estate, for example, because that's the field we're in. They want to teach you how to build a 100-unit portfolio, for example. They don't even have a 100-unit portfolio.
It's fake.
They're selling you courses, guys.
It's
Come on.
fake.
Like, wake up. Now, don't get me wrong. I've paid for courses. I love Grant Cardone, for example. I've paid for a course with him, a few courses from him, and I've shared them with you as well. There's, most of them are great and stuff, but I know who's doing what. I know what's going on, right? But a lot of people get tricked into this, get money quick scheme sort of setup, and that's not the case. With real estate, it's long term. So a lot of you guys are searching for the answer. That was my mistake when I was younger, but I was killing it. I was killing it from a young age all the time, but I was still searching for like mentors. I like having mentors and coaches, and I would search and then get the wrong mentor here and there until I found the right one. I've had like 2 or 3 wrong, bad mentors, which I wish I avoided, but hey, I learned a lot not to do from them, which was great as well. So lesson learned. But it's like you guys are searching for something, and I speak to some people about this, and there's people, would you believe this if I told you, that they believe that they are not in control of their own thoughts.
What do you mean? Like, what do they believe?
So I tell people all the time, I go, look, there's that voice in your head that you don't control.
Yeah, everyone has that.
We all have
sure.
that. I don't need to prove it to you in any sort of like religion.
It's intuitive. Everyone knows it.
We all know there's a voice in your head that you have. And then we all get thoughts that are not our thoughts.
Yeah.
Right? But we get those thoughts, and those thoughts can be good or bad. Right? So who's talking to you when they're good and who's talking to you when they're bad? Now you could get into the philosophical studies of what that is. I know what that is for me. Right? Now, you have these voices in your head. So I talk to people, and the other day I was giving some wisdom, especially like wisdom we learned from, certain seminars and, reading and all that stuff. And some was just revealed to us. Yeah. And it's like, as I'm talking, I didn't even get to the main point that I wanted to get to. I'm just saying sometimes we don't control. No, what I said is sometimes the way we act is because of the way that we feel. And why do we feel a certain way? Because initially it starts off with your thoughts. Someone says something to you, you think something, you process it controls how you feel, controls how you act.
Yeah. You tell yourself a story.
Yeah, you create a story about it, or it's the right thing and you feel great and you act accordingly, whatever. As I said that, the person's like, do you though? Do you really control your thoughts? I'm like, yeah, I mean, who controls you then? Like, I don't get it. Someone controls you? Like, it's not that hard. And they think that. This person thinks that. And I'm sure there are a lot of other people that go, I can't change it. This is how I am. It's not true. It's not true. You could totally change it. We've changed it. Like, we've had that change. And you could totally change your thoughts. So if you get a thought in your head that says, go murder someone, you're going to go murder someone? Of course not.
It doesn't make sense, dude. For people to actually believe or to know they're, let's say, in the matrix, let's say just for an example, you need to be outside of the matrix to be able to know that you're in the matrix. Does that make sense? Like, you won't be able to know that if it's true. So if you're not able to know that as a result, then why would you even trust that thought in your head? How can that be truth?
Well, you have to question everything and be critical of everything. The problem is, as you said earlier, a lot of people don't solve problems. They don't know how to, and they don't know how to think critically. And as a result, they're skeptical of everything, which doesn't make sense. Which doesn't make sense. It's backwards. But my point being is what I was just saying about your thoughts is that you could change your perspective on things just by thinking differently about them.
Yep.
I do it every single day. There's always things that can trigger me or make me feel good, or I don't question, or now I question, and you improve every day. It's a daily journey, right? But if you think that, no, this is the way it is and this is the way you are, that's not true. You have to soul search. You have to find out who you are. So a lot of people are searching for this thing, and this whole, as you said earlier, like, we'll shed some light on why people think they're just going to make it. Some people just believe in like attraction. I'm going to attract it. If I think about it hard enough, I'm going to attract it into my life. Yeah, okay. If that was the case, sit on your couch every day and collect checks. That's not how it works.
Everybody would be a millionaire.
Everyone would be a billionaire, trillionaire, quadrillionaire, whatever. Like, that's not how it works. There's a law of cause and effect, right? Your actions will have a cause and effect. So you need to think clearly. You need to know how to, what you're doing and go about it that way and feel great. And we're not going to feel great every day or every moment of the day, but you could control a lot of that to an extent.
Yeah.
Your brain is a chemical factory, right?
Definitely.
And I want to leave a parable real quick that came to my mind as we were talking about this, because nothing is scripted, but it just came to my mind. And in the Bible, there's a parable about, where this wealthy, business owner, landowner, he went away on a journey and he went to 3 of his servants and said, I'm going to give you this much. He gave one servant $10, the other servant $5, the other servant $1. And he said, make sure you invest it wisely so that by the time I come back, I have, a return on my investment and I'll collect it. And he even told them what to do. He said, go put it with the bank so it collects interest. That's what he told them. So the guy who got 10 put it in the bank, invested it wisely. When the master came back, he had another 10 for him. So he doubled up. The guy who had 5 were given to him, invested it wisely, and then he had 5 extra dollars to give back to the owner, doubled up as well. The last guy who only got 1 was so afraid of his owner, of his master, okay, that he buried the $1 because he said, I don't want to invest it and lose it, right? Even though the master told him how to do it. Put it in the bank, let it collect interest. Well, when I return, I'll collect. He was so afraid of who his master was, the wrath that his master could have if something were to go wrong, that he just buried his $1. When the master returned, he gave him his $1 back and said, he explained himself. He said, I was so afraid of you and the man that you are, and if something went wrong, that, what would you do to me if I lost the $1 that you gave me? And you think the master said, oh my gosh, you're so right. And, after you defied my instructions, you're so right. Thank you for doing that. Come here, come get a promotion. No, what he did was he rebuked that guy, took the $1 from him, gave it to the guy with the 10 who doubled it up and made it 20, and, let him invest the other $1 and things like that. He earned it. Now he earned it. And the point of that parable, the point of that story is that you will lose that you don't use anyway. And it'll be taken and it'll be given to someone who's earned it, who's deserving of it. Because life does not respond to your wants and needs. Life responds to what you deserve. And how does life know what to give you, what you deserve? Because of the actions that you're taking every single day.
Yeah.
And the steps that you're taking every single day. And that's divine order. That exists. Okay, that is real. Those are natural laws. Just like oxygen is natural, you can't see it to our naked eye. It's real. Gravity, same thing. It's real. These are natural laws. So for those of you guys who want to be successful, the timid approach is not going to work. The sitting at home doing nothing, the playing it safe is not going to work. You need to take action, big action. And every single day, break it down. This is what I got to do. Try your best. And tomorrow's another day. Don't worry about tomorrow's problems. That's it, younger generation. All you got to do. And just keep in mind, as I said earlier, there are other young entrepreneurs. Not everybody's like this, but there are other young entrepreneurs crushing it right now. And they want to take the food off your plate. And if they do the right things and they deserve it, it'll naturally happen. Because people are not going to want to work with you if you have poor customer service, if your product is too expensive, if it's not worthwhile for them to come to your store or work with you. And meanwhile, someone else is offering a better product, better service, even for the same price that you're offering, they'll work with that person. Anyone would. Remember that, younger generation.
Yeah, for sure. That was well said. And last piece of advice for me, if I could go back to my younger self and say anything to myself, I would say, listen, you don't have to go get a $100,000 loan to go invest in it, open up your own business. I would just say to myself, just work on yourself. Be a better Danny. Go to the gym, get your mind right. Start searching for truth. And that way you can be the best you can be. And then whatever happens when it comes to business, like we said, you don't have to go open up a business. But as long as you're the best you that you can be, you will go and you will do well for yourself. And as a result, you will accomplish all the goals that you want to accomplish because you're putting out into the world, like Matthew's talking about. You will take action. You will have the right mindset. And as a result, have the right attitude in regards to approaching different situations in life. and you will have a more successful, not in terms of money, but you'll have a more rewarding life, you know, in whatever way that is to you. So yeah, this was great.
More fulfillment, more satisfaction, and the money will come. Because if you serve enough people, if your whole business is centered around how many people can I serve them well, serve them ethically, honestly, and to the best of my ability. Like as a realtor, I want to know my stuff. I want to be able to present that stuff to people. This is why you should invest here. This is why you should do this and do that, right? And if you do that properly, the money it's a byproduct of those actions.
I was just going to say
it will come.
It will come.
Plain and simple. It will come. No one's giving us anything. We're building, we're grinding. We're not financially free, but we're getting there. We're going to build, we're going to grow. And those are based off us taking the right actions, doing the right things. And I think we have a question.
The only thing that I kind of wanted to add from this episode, Matthew and Danny, is that I think part of the problem with the customer service kind of issues in Canada right now is that the job market, there's not enough competition in it. So workers at, say, a restaurant, for example, they know that their employer isn't going to be able to find anybody else for these jobs. Sure. There's help wanted everywhere. So they know they're going to have their job tomorrow, even if they don't, do their job to their fullest potential or try their best.
It's true. That's true. And what I would say to somebody like that in that situation is, yeah, you can get away with it 100%. You can absolutely get away with it. But do you really want to wake up in the morning knowing that you're somebody that just half-asses everything? I don't know. If you feel like that, that's up to you. That's your decision. That's your own decision. But like we said, if you half-ass your job, you're going to half-ass your relationships. You're going to half-ass everything in your life. That's just how it works, whether you like it or not. So the sooner people realize that, the sooner they're going to have that awakening and be like, wow, why don't I just do good at my job and just see where I go from there? And because you never know what's possible, right? If you put your mind to it. So that's what I would say to somebody that thinks like that.
Well, it's a great point, Carson, that you mentioned, because it's true. It's hard to find, people to work right now in general. So if everybody, for the most part, the majority is acting like the way that Carson mentioned, that's how they're acting. They know they have that attitude and that approach that I'm not going to get far. And if I do, there's 100 other places that'll take me and perhaps pay me more. Imagine how you would look, the kind of stud you would look like if you were, even though you knew that and you knew what you had in the palm of your hands, but you said, you know what? I'm going to strive to be the best employee at this place. And I'm going to be the best version of myself I could be at this place. I'm going to treat it like it's my father or mother's business or my own business. Imagine the doors of opportunity that'll open to you. When I was waiting tables at Johnny Rockets, the way I got the job to go to Lucky Strikes was because I served unknowingly one of the managers at Lucky Strikes and their partner. I served them, and they literally said, "Are you looking for another job?" I said, "Yeah, I actually am. What do you have in mind?" They told me about the opportunity, and I said, "Wow, it's right here in the mall. It's perfect. I got a job. I worked there for a bit until I became a realtor because of what they saw in me there."
But if you didn't give that good customer service, that wouldn't have happened to you, though.
That would have never happened.
So you see how it all works out. You were doing a good job, doing your best, and it all comes around full circle.
It all comes around. And at the end of the day, as I said, guys, you just need to just be a little bit different. 1 degree different, because everyone else is the same. 1 degree different, and you're going to stand out. And you know what? Your friends and your coworkers and things like that, they might hate on you. A lot of coworkers I had used to hate on me. They thought I was a goody two-shoe. They thought I was, always going to the boss and saying things. Yeah, you know what? Because this place pays for our bills. It's paying for our life. It's somebody's business. I'm not going to steal from them. I'm not going to do my job. I'm going to do my job wholeheartedly. I'm going to do my best. And every place I've gone to, I've left it like that. I've left it in, a better condition than I found it. That's how I look at it. What if this was my business? That's how I always treat it. And I treat people's investments today the same way.
Yeah.
What if it was my investment? How hard do I go on you and Sarah when we're renting someone's condo out and it takes a bit longer than usual? Obviously, I'm not saying when I go hard, I'm like rude to you guys, but how hard do I say, guys, we got to rent this out. Let's do some marketing. Let's do this.
It's as if though it's our own place.
It's as if it's my place.
That's how we always treat it, man.
It's as if it's my place, and people see that and they recognize that and they appreciate it, and we do more deals together. So This was a great episode. I really hope you guys stayed till the very end, because these are very impactful lessons that I wish we had. We had to read them and go through them ourselves. I wish we had podcasts at that time when we were going through these part-time jobs. But at the end of the day, that this is our way of giving back to you guys. So I really hope that you enjoyed it and you stayed till the end. And if you did, send me a DM on Instagram. Send Danny a DM on Instagram at Danny Ablican, at Matthew Ablican, and tell us you listened to this to the very end.
Yeah,
we might have a surprise for you.
Let us know your thoughts.
Yeah.
We love hearing from people.
Maybe we'll provide some coaching.
Yeah. 100%.
Maybe we'll provide some coaching to the first 10 people who message us saying we stay till the very end.
Let us know, guys.
Smash that like button, subscribe. Love you guys. We're out.
We're out.